expect me to stay like I'm your only escape.
What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane back again with another Sistas video. In this video, I'm breaking down episode 17. Let's go ahead and get into it. The episode opens on goofy ass Gary finally waking up to the toxicity and problematic nature of his therapist. Sis tries to rebound quickly, but after a few questions, he figures out that she is a therapist who focuses on couples, but none of the men in the relationship she has helped actually stay in their relationships. All of her recommendations are always that the woman doesn't appreciate their partner or respect them, yada yada. And yes, Gary, it took you going as far as sis trying to suck your you-know-what for you to figure this out. I swear, men be the dumbest things walking this earth sometimes. But sir, really, better late than never, I suppose. But I still don't like you, Gary, and probably never will. And not Andi coming in like she was about to slap a trick, but then turn around and slap a trick. Girl, you can't be coming in hot like that and don't do nothing. You have every right to ragtag that hoe all over that apartment, and here you are practicing restraint. And yes, Andi, he doesn't respect you. We have been saying that for 11 years, so what you gonna do about it? Oh, storm out. That's what you're gonna do about it. Okay, sis, I guess. But y'all, we're gonna come back to Andi. Aaron talked to God in this episode and he said that Karen is his. But is he sure? Like, super sure? You sure he wasn't talking to the angel Gabriel and something kind of got, lost or mixed up in the message, my brother? Karen's salon is still struggling, but at least we're starting to see her with clients, and we get to see her in this episode a few moments in the salon, but most of her time is spent in the conversation that she has with Zach. And honestly, their scene is actually my favorite scene of the entire episode. I get that Zach is annoyed, but he's also overly angry. And I'm like, sir, what's really going on here? So basically, Karen wants him to tell her that he does not love her and he does not want to be with her. And then for the first part of their conversation, he remixes those words and cannot actually say the phrase as she's asking him to say it. And I know that that might seem very trivial to some of y'all, but it's not, because words actually matter. So Zach says, right now in this moment, I don't want to be with you no more. Which is the truth, but that does not mean that he never wants to be with her ever again, which is part of the problem. What Karen comes into that situation looking for and needing is that if this is going to be a closure thing, she's looking for it to be a forever closure thing. So she's looking for him to say something or to give her some type of inkling that this is completely over and it's not just their little yo-yo, because she wants to be able to release him, but her heart is probably telling her to wait for him. In the last few episodes, she has learned and seen Zach make a radical shift into being the man that she was actually hoping that he would be the entire 3 years that they were together. He has gotten his shit together, but now he's with another woman, and he's also clued her in on how he felt within the relationship. She has apologized for that and received that. So I totally think that what's happening internally for Karen is she's trying to figure out if she should wait for him, if this is a moment where they need to go and explore, or he needs to go and explore other relationships, but at the end of the day they come back to each other. And that's the stuff that's not being said, but it's basically being said. So when I'm watching everybody online drag this woman, and I get it, Fatima is a thing, and I personally, it was definitely team Karen and Zach reconnecting, but I do think that they need time apart, and I think that Zach needs this relationship with Fatima because it's going to be the thing that really helps continue to mature him. I don't like how people trivialize Karen's feelings and perspectives in this, because while we don't go around saying all of this, countless of us, including myself, have been in situations where we have waited for dudes and just done certain things, and literally what Karen is articulating all of that. We don't typically articulate it, but she's articulating it, and I feel like she's getting a horrible rap for it. Also in this conversation, Zach says, every day that I wake up and I'm not thinking about you and seeing you, it gets easier. That does not help her understand or actually believe that this is completely done, because that statement to me just communicates, if you were around me, you would want to be with me. If you saw me, you would want to be with me. If you were interacting with me, you would want to be with me. So that does not say that you don't actually want to be with me, because if you don't want to be with me, if you don't love me and all that kind of stuff, I could be right in front of you and you have no inklings, you have no feelings, you have no draw to interact with me in a romantic way, a sexual way, or any of those things. But that statement that he made just shows that that's not the case. And I think one of the realest things that Karen said in this whole conversation was, my heart just ain't ready to let it go. And she was like, and that's some honesty for you. And I was so proud of her, because that is something that we just do not admit. We come up with every excuse, every reason, everything that we could possibly say so that we can avoid actually saying that, because that's a real ass statement for whoever, and it's honest. And again, I don't want people to demonize her for actually saying it. Like, regardless, she's a person with some feelings and she's communicating those feelings, and I'm proud of her for doing so. I don't think that she's out here like trying to ruin Zach and Fatima. I think that she is actually seeking closure, but she's in this space, and I think her heart is telling her to wait for this man, and she's looking for him to give her reasons as to not wait for him. And honestly, he's not doing it, because even at the end when he actually was like, okay, I'll tell you whatever it is that you want me to say, you can't really take that as it is what it is, because he's also saying it in anger and frustration, and sometimes we say things that we don't actually mean. So I totally got what she was saying there too, and it's like, she's not as delusional as y'all are trying to make her out to be. Like, this is just very real things, and humans use different mechanisms to communicate other things. We might say one thing and mean a completely other thing. So I can't wait to see how this continues to play out. I'm really disappointed that in this episode we also got to see Hayden manipulate the voice call that Fatima tried to set up him with and send that to Zach to like really skew his perspective on Fatima. So now that's going to create a separate wrinkle that could ultimately impact all of these people. So not only is it going to impact how he's actually interacting with Fatima, but it could impact like how he's thinking and processing the whole thing that went down with Karen. I'm hoping that he doesn't double back to Karen just because of this whole statement about what Fatima said on the phone. But I am interested to see how Zach and Karen continue to close out their long-standing relationship and really get to a place of release. Now back to Andi. Andi runs out of her apartment and right to the hotel that Robin is staying at. And sis, you either gonna do this or you not, because at this moment, this whole him and Han, it ain't cute, and it's annoying me and you. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Robin is probably not Andi's forever love, but I have said this before and I'm gonna say it again. He can be the bridge to get her out of this toxic relationship with Gary. It can bring her a little light and joy and show her what it should be like in courtship with a man who adores and respects her. Also, it will help her figure out what she actually wants, because as of right now, she continues to be pushed into his arms, Robin, because of what Gary is or is not doing and how he makes her feel. Like, girl, I'm just curious. Are you ever going to stop letting Gary manipulate you and control your life? Because even when he's not directly doing it, he's indirectly doing it. And I hate that for you. In this episode, we see Calvin and Sabrina finish their conversation. And he likes to get extra freaky in the bed and wants a strap on to be used. And he says that this is like a fetish thing for him. He's not actually gay. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I would have to, I don't know. I feel like I got to look up fetishing to actually see, because when he said it, I just felt like he was misusing the term. But that's just me. I can't actually tell this man how to identify sexually. So if that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying. And he says that he would be fine if they can't do that within their relationship. But sir, you ran to old girl like 3 hours after you had finished having sex and waking up with Sabrina. So which is it? Like, you literally wasted no time going to go jump in the bed with this girl after you had just rekindled things with Sabrina. But you want her to believe that you don't need this action, that you got all of these freaky ideas and things that you prefer and is your pleasure points and all of that, and you're willing to give that up for her, but you weren't willing to not have sex with this lady within hours of having sex with Sabrina. Make it make sense. Do you hear yourself? And listen, I was rooting for Calvin, because at the end of the day, I'm rooting for people who make each other happy, and it seems like they actually wanted to be together. But this honestly feels too hard, and I don't know if it's the way that this stuff is written or what, but it's giving Sabrina, let this man go. Because even the conversation that I think that Tyler Perry is trying to have with this, specifically just about, sexual compatibility and the conversation around this cis hetero woman seeing this cis hetero man as less than or questioning his sexuality because he does prefer a few more explorative things sexually. That's a very valid conversation to have, but the way that they have framed it in this show is just like Calvin gives her every reason to question him. Not even question his sexuality, but just question him. He's not straight up about it. He's not grounded in his identity. He is all over the damn place. So it's like, what am I actually buying into and believing? And then part of me felt like in watching this, when he's like, look at you, you're judging me. Like, I felt like he was like shaming her for processing and it not necessarily being her cup of tea. Like, at the end of the day, people do have preferences. And in a world where people have tried to weaponize their preferences to oppress other people, I get it. But that doesn't mean that now everybody has to like be okay with everything. If she's not okay with using a strap on her man, that doesn't make her less of a woman. That does not make her a bad person. That doesn't make her any of the things that I feel like Calvin is implying. And I feel like it's a knee-jerk reaction to try to counteract the shame that he feels from her judgment. But it's like, that just means that y'all are not compatible, because I personally ain't comfortable with it either. So at the end of the day, if you tell me that you like this thing and I tell you I don't like this thing, and that is a deal breaker for either of us, then we don't need to be together. That's it. That's all. What is all this conversation about? What is all this dragging back and forth and just pulling this for what? Neither one of y'all are wrong. You like it, she doesn't. Y'all might not be the right fit, but Calvin, you have been fighting for all this time of trying to prove that you're the best fit for her, and she's the worst judgmental girl in the world. And don't get me wrong, Sabrina has been very judgy and ridiculous, and sometimes she did need to forget what people were thinking or what everybody else was thinking and just go with it. But now she's not worried about what other people are thinking. She's worried about what she thinks, and that is very valid. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, because this whole Sabrina Calvin thing, actually, the more I talk about it, the more annoyed I get with it. But y'all, that's my breakdown. That is the full episode 17 breakdown. We get little moments of Danni here. She's kind of the comedic relief, and she's the support for Zach and Karen in their conversation. We're going to see more of her next week when she actually calls Rodeo over and they do the thing, because they like to do the thing. And I can't wait to see that. I wish that she would just choose happiness as well and get into a much more stable place with him. But girl, we're going to let you continue to go off. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, join the tribe. I'm Erica Vane. I'm breaking down Sistas every single week, as well as coming to you with character breakdowns, as well as talking deeper about storylines and plot lines. So don't miss out on any of this great Sistas content. Hit the subscribe button. Bye.